Hello everybody, Bruce Petrov with Ask Handyman Bruce. Today we're going to show you how to level out a basement floor, or any kind of a concrete slab floor, I suppose. And you can actually pour this over plywood as well, but you've got got to be really careful with plywood. It's got to have a minimal amount of deflection to it, and there's lots of requirements you need to meet. Most of the time, this self-leveling kind of cementitious leveler is used over a concrete floor. You can see I've got one bucket that I poured out. I'm going to show you how to mix the second one here in just a minute and pour that out. A few things that I've done ahead of time, though, before we got to this point are I caulked the corner where the slab meets the foundation wall. I didn't want all my liquid cement mix just to roll through that crack and just get wasted. So I just put some cheap caulk around there last night. That's dry. This morning, too, I went ahead and mopped this area and picked up all the dust from the floor. Mostly that's all you need to do to prep the surface. However, if you have loose areas, like maybe some paint on there that's flaking or something that's not stable, you really want to watch that. There's instructions on the back of the bag that you can read from the manufacturer that talks a little bit about preparing the surface. Another tip that you might be aware of is if you have a really highly polished cement floor, you might want to etch that with muriatic acid first. And that's a simple process. You can look that up online, but essentially you're putting 1 part muriatic acid to 2 parts water into a bucket and just kind of mopping it over the floor and let it kind of effervesce and kind of etch the surface so that this stuff grabs better. But in our case, we're not going to need to do that. So what I've done is I've poured out 4.5 quarts of water into the bucket first. I measured that. Then I poured the bag in. The manufacturer says that the bag mixes easily in a 5-gallon bucket, and we found that to be basically true, other than a little mess that I made here on the first one. But I'm mixing with my bigger drill because it turns a little slower. They said about 400 to 600 RPMs is best. So let's see. All right, as you can see, you want a very runny solution here. We don't want this thick at all. The last step now is just to take and pour this out. And I start at the deepest area and let it work back, because naturally it'll want to do that. If I poured it out over here where we'll end up having a feathered edge, then we're asking all that material to move this way. If we start here where the bulk of it is, then the finer parts will move out to the edge, or less of the material will move out to the edge, where we're going to end up feathering that out. All right, we're going to need a few more buckets of that, but essentially that's how the process works. Once that dries, we can kind of feather that edge a little bit, and it'll go to a pretty fine edge on its own. Then we're ready for flooring on top of that. Now, I've done this prior to actually building my walls. I wanted to get a level floor so that when I build my walls, all my floor plates are all level going around. So I'm actually starting at an earlier point than that, but you may be desiring just to put a new floor in and want to level out that concrete before you do so. All right, hope that helps you guys and hope it gives you some confidence to move forward on your project. Enjoy.